support and encouragement. Now, once that has been built, and there's a means of getting cargo and people to and from Mars, as well as to and from the Moon, and other places in the solar system, then I think that's really where there's a tremendous amount of entrepreneurial resources that are needed. Because you've got to build out the entire base of industry, everything that allows human civilization to exist. And anyone for the early people that go to Mars, it'll be far more dangerous. I mean, really, it kind of reads like Shackleton's ad for Antarctic explorers. It's like difficult, dangerous, good chance you'll die, and they will start off building the most elementary infrastructure, just a base to create propellant, a power station, glass domes in which to grow crops, all the sort of fundamentals without which you cannot survive. I think Mars should really have great bars, the Mars bar. Sorry. We'll be able to do short flights, short sort of up and down flights, probably sometime in the first half of next year. What's amazing about this ship, assuming we can make full and rapid reusability work, is that we can reduce the marginal cost per flight dramatically by orders of magnitude compared to where it is today. A BFR flight will actually cost less than our Falcon 1 flight did back in the day. Wow. So that was about a $5 or $6 million marginal cost per flight. We're confident that BFR will be less than that. And that is what will enable the creation of a permanent base on the Moon and a city on Mars. Well, at SpaceX, almost all my time is spent on engineering and design. It's probably 80 and 90%. And then Gwynne Shotwell, who's president and chief operating officer, takes care of the business operations of the company, which is what allows me to do that. Yeah, I think in order to make the right decisions, you have to understand something. And if you don't understand something at a detailed level, you cannot make a good decision. Well, in the case of SpaceX, I just kept wondering why we were not making progress towards sending people to Mars, why we didn't have a base on the Moon. Where are the sort of space hotels that were promised in 2001 in the movie? It's like, it just wasn't happening year after year. And as I got more and more into what it would take to do that, I learned that the fundamental issue is actually the cost of access to space. Rockets were super expensive, and the cost per pound or kilogram to orbit had actually gone up over the years, not down. And it was like, okay, well, it won't matter if we are able to do this philanthropic mission and it generates a lot of will to go to Mars. That's not going to matter if there's no way. I started reading a lot of books on rockets and did sort of a first principles analysis of a rocket, just broke down the materials that are in a rocket, what would it cost to buy those materials, what versus the price of the rocket, and there's a gigantic difference between the raw material cost of the rocket and the finished cost of the rocket.
How do you plan a business where the rocket business, some of these things are going to blow up on the launch pad? How does the business plan work?
I don't really have a business plan. For business time, almost all of it is really dedicated to SpaceX and Tesla. It may sound like I've got a lot of different endeavors, but it's overwhelmingly SpaceX and Tesla in terms of time allocation. In fact, the only public security that I own of any kind is Tesla. And then the next biggest is SpaceX. And then the Boring Company kind of started more as a joke, because that would be a funny name for a company. We put the zero in bring. I mean, it's sort of like that doesn't make any sense. I'm really quite close I'm very close to the cutting edge in AI, and it scares the hell out of me. It's capable of vastly more than almost anyone knows, and the rate of improvement is exponential. You can see this in things like AlphaGo, which went from in the span of maybe 6 to 9 months, it went from being unable to beat even a reasonably good Go player